He's a world champion Bok from 1995, always an absolutely fearsome opponent. Played 19 tests against New Zealand out of a 77. What a warm welcome to the show, Mark Andrews. Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you guys.
Well, how has your opinion of where your Springboks side is at changed? How has it changed, if at all, after that bruising match against Ireland?
Well, what changed was before the Irish game when we lost Malcolm Marx. I think that changed the whole structure of our side. It changed the way our bomb squad works. It took away a huge part of our physicality and the way we play in the forwards. So the Springboks couldn't have had a worse injury in losing Malcolm Marx, because he's really disrupted our whole structure and how we play. So unfortunately, before that game, I did say to my wife, who's not a big rugby supporter, and everybody was asking her, what does Mark think is going to happen?
Yes, I bet.
And I just said, Andy, I think we're gonna go down here by a couple of points, and I think we're going to lose it by kicks, because we don't have a recognised kicker. You cannot play mainstream test rugby with 70% kicker. You just can't do. You can, but you're not going to win many games, and that's basically what's happened.
What did Ireland surprise you with? Did they do anything that you weren't expecting?
No, they did exactly what I was expecting. They were going to try and counter the physicality of our pack. They were going to try and take us head on. And if you have a look at that game in the first 20 minutes, they couldn't get across the game line. Our defence was ferocious. Our set piece, we didn't get the dominance in the scrums that we used to. Again, without having marks there, it affected our scrumming ability. And then I think it gave the Irish pack a little bit more confidence that they could actually take on the Springbok pack. All they needed to do was to give themselves ball on the front foot. It didn't even have to be on the front foot. It just had to not be going backwards from set phases and for the impact. And they started getting that right about 25 minutes into the game. And then we were under pressure. And our Springbok side is not used to being under pressure from our pack. And it just we just couldn't catch up. And then missing the kicks that we missed, we just was points build pressure. And we couldn't build the pressure on the scoreboard. And sadly, the Irish were always going to try and go wide. They were going to try, and I was surprised in them coming through that break in the midfield so early. Moni's a fairly good defender, but I think it is just, he did slip. That does happen, but I think that also gave the Irish a huge amount of psychological belief that they can take us on, and they did.
Mark Andrews is with us on the platform. So, providing that there isn't an enormous upset, we're looking at two quarterfinals, the All Blacks against Ireland and France playing South Africa. Does this in any way dent your confidence in terms of the Springboks? Do you still believe that that's one defeat? You did it in Japan where you lost a game and went on to win it. Is that the same scenario you're thinking?
Yeah, I have to try and be positive here, and I do think we have a phenomenal Springbok outfit. We had a very balanced side, and again, I can't reiterate enough the loss that Malcolm Marx is to the Springbok setup. So before this, I was pretty confident. Whether we played the French or the All Blacks in the quarters, I don't think makes a huge difference, because if you're going to win the World Cup from here on in, you have to win every game. You got to win your quarters, semis, and finals. So if you play the French in the quarters or the All Blacks in the quarters, you may have to play them in the finals as well. So it doesn't really make a difference. But I just, again, the loss of Malcolm Marx really has probably taken a bit of my confidence away. So it's going to be a real battle from here on in. Playing against the French in the quarters, I think may work in our favour, purely because having played in the home World Cup, I know what the pressure's like, and thankfully in all the games that we played, we were on the front foot, and we didn't have to catch up a game from behind. So the Springboks have that ability to put you under pressure. We've got Pollard, who's come back in.
Yes.
He'll most certainly start in the quarters, and he's an 80% plus kicker. So the way the French can build pressure by the scoreboard, the Boks have got to do the same thing.
You just seem to have a very basic game plan. You know what you're doing. You stick to it. And you don't seem to be fazed at all by any criticism of it might be a sort of one style of rugby. It's winning, isn't it? And when it comes to a World Cup as well, in 1995, the All Blacks, did we play all the rugby? Well, I argue a lot with people who say, the All Blacks were the best side. No, they weren't. The best side won the final because you figured out a way to stop us and slow us down. Mark, that's the truth. When you look back,
are you a new Kiwi?
Well,
you must have just moved to New Zealand recently with that attitude.
well, it's just a realistic attitude. It's like 2011. I mean, we might have been the best team there. Good God, France just about got it. Office, it was only 8-7. So in the end, it's just who scores the most points, isn't it?
Correct. I mean, but it's a fair argument to say that there was a better team at the World Cup. They just didn't win it. So they're two different things, and you spot on. The Springboks have worked out a way of playing that suits them. It has changed. We're not that one-dimensional anymore. Years gone by, it was just that kick, put the bombs up, playing the opponent's half, strangle them, try and build points with the scoreboard, or the pressure with the scoreboard, and just play very low-risk rugby. If you look at our outside backs today, we've got some of the most phenomenal wingers in world rugby. The ability to score tries with beat players with their feet, and will take balls out there. So I think it's what's made the Springboks a little bit more dangerous to play against now, in that you now don't really know if they're going to run that ball at you from their own 22. When in the old days you knew there was a 99% chance they were going to kick that ball in their own 22.
Is there anything to fear from the other side of the draw, or is the winner definitely coming from this side of the draw and one of the 4 quarterfinalists that I mentioned?
Yeah, it's a hard one. I do think, if I could just go off topic a little bit, I think the RB are going to have to relook at how they do these pools when they call them. I think it's an absolute travesty that you have sides basically like the French, the All Blacks, South Africa, and Ireland, the top sides in the world, playing all their games in the pools and then in the quarters. It doesn't do world rugby much good, or the game of rugby much good, when you could potentially end up with a final with maybe one or two of the best sides who aren't there, or even the semi-final. So for me, I think if you look at the Welsh pool, Wales, Fiji, Australia, I mean, geez, that's someone. If they were in South Africa, I'd say someone paid off someone to get in that pool. You look at the England, Samoa, Japan, Argentina. Argentina have disappointed a bit for me in this World Cup. I think they're a much better side than what their results give them. But it's a pretty easy pool. So you'd have to say the finalists or the winners are going to come out of the teams from Pool A and Pool B.
Just on the All Blacks then, let's finish with that. I mean, we started off the season like a real rocket. That game at Mount Smart, the first 20 minutes, it was like the All Blacks are back. But we've been so horribly inconsistent these last few years, and an inability to impose ourselves. And we saw that at Twickenham. We saw it against the French in that opening match as well. Where are we at, do you think, at the moment? And also, is this All Black side good enough to win the tournament, in your opinion?
Martin, absolutely. I mean, as you said in the introduction, I played against the All Blacks 19 times. I've watched them. They've been my favourite team to watch and to play against as a player. I've got huge respect, and the rugby world has got huge respect for the All Blacks. So you can never write off an All Black side, ever. Just looking through your guys' squad and your players, the All Blacks have that perfect setup of huge experience, of youth. They've got an established side management. There isn't a huge amount of political interference like we have in South Africa with the team. So I just can't quite work out why you're not firing. The games when I just think the All Blacks are going to find their and they're going to hurt teams, and they just don't seem to be able to be accurate in what they're doing. So they definitely have the players. They have the setup, the structure. But I honestly just can't work out why they're not performing to their potential. But I would never ever write off the All Blacks, especially against Ireland. My concern about Ireland is that I don't think the Irish, even though they like to be physical and in your face, I don't think they can play 4 weeks in a row and playing physical sides. So they played against South Africa last week and they won. They played very well. They're going to play the Scots next week, who are going to come at them with everything. It's going to be a physical game. Then they play the All Blacks. I don't think the All Blacks are used to playing and just playing physical style of rugby and facing it if they have to. It's just part of your culture as well. I don't think the Irish are going to be able to handle 4 weeks in a row. So if they manage to sneak past the All Blacks, which I'm thinking no one's talking about it. But I wouldn't like to be playing an All Black side who are under huge pressure. I mean, I've been to New Zealand enough times to know what it's like. I remember in '99, after we played the All Blacks for the bronze playoff, half the All Black players booked holidays to the Mediterranean and used to go back to New Zealand. The pressure is huge in your country.
Yes.
And those players know that. So I think the Irish have got a hell of a battle to get past All Blacks. And for me, I think maybe just as a bit of a dark horse, I think the All Blacks may surprise the rugby world.
Awesome talking to you, mate. Fantastic. I can talk for us. Thank you so much for that. Let's keep in touch. Maybe talk during the Cup in the later weeks. Thank you, Mark. Brilliant.
Will do. Absolute pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day.